Yo, what's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Deconstructing Hip Hop, the show where geek meets ghetto, aka the show where we break down classic hip hop beats using modern day music production tools. First, let me start out by saying I apologize for not getting an episode out to you guys last week, but I did have some family stuff to handle. My big slash older yet shorter brother was getting married, and I had to do the whole best man thing. And I do have to say, I do clean up pretty nicely. But anyways, yeah, I'm back here. So I'm going to try to see if I can put out back-to-back episodes. Obviously not on the same day, but I do want to try to keep it at a one episode per week average. That being said, today's track is A Tribe Called Quest's Electric Relaxation. Now, I know I said that I would be doing a DJ Muggs track. And I'll tell you right now, I've been trying to do How I Could Just Kill a Man. And it's killing me, no pun intended. Actually, yeah, the pun is intended. But either ways, corniness aside, that brother just loves taking samples from the most obscure places. And when you do know where the sample is, you just got to do all types of stuff to make it sound right. And it's taking up a lot of time. But I decided to cover one of my favorite Tribe songs. A while ago, had started working on Check the Rhyme, and I haven't been able to get it to sound anywhere near the way I would like it to sound. But I didn't want to leave the whole Tribe Called Quest thing to the side, so I picked one of my second favorite Tribe Called Quest song, which is Electric Relaxation. Now, this song came out, it was the second single off of Midnight Marauders. And I know Midnight Marauders dropped in '93. I was a freshman in high school. And for me, I was used to Tribe Called Quest sounding very much like it had on the Low End Theory. Now, you can say, well, duh, they still sounded just as jazzy on Midnight Marauders as they did in the album before that. But you got to remember that back when they dropped the first album, hip-hop was very horn heavy, all right? And in Midnight Marauders, yeah, you do have some horn samples, but this is, at least in my opinion, much smoother, much jazzier, much punchier. It just overall just sounded cleaner, in my opinion. You have to remember, right around that time, hip hop was already starting to make its movement to the West Coast. '93, The Chronic blew up really, really big and got all types of commercial success. Snoop's album was coming out in '94. Yeah, man. And so Tribe Called Quest still maintained that signature jazzy sound. And the thing was, all these years, I was under the impression that it was Ali Shaheed Muhammad who did the bulk of the production. And to be honest with you, a lot of Tribe songs are credited as A Tribe Called Quest. You know, so Q-Tip is a monster producer. For those of you that don't know, he did Nas's One Love, which is actually going to be a song that I'm eventually going to cover because I covered it way back when, before I even did the show. But yeah. Electric Relaxation, made up of 3 samples. I'll talk about them in the production portion of the show. And you will hear me whine about the fact that I couldn't get it to sound the way I wanted it to sound. Now, as far as the equipment that I use Machine. Duh, I've been using that for a while now. But I also brought in Logic Pro. So yeah, I don't know what equipment was originally used in the production of this song. I always want to say, when we're talking about music that was produced in the '90s, that it was done using an EMU SP1200, but I really think that if they did use it, they used it in conjunction with something else, because it does sound like there's more than 10 seconds of sampling in this track, and 10 seconds was the limit of the EMU SP1200. However, it wouldn't be the first time that people used that in another device. Or maybe they really just worked their magic. So yeah, have a listen and let me know what you guys think. Alright, as usual, I want to start first by talking about the samples. Now, there pretty much were only 3 samples that I could find that were used in this track. The drums come courtesy of Brethren's Outside Love. And there were a few other records that sampled the drums from that song. The only one that I can really name off the top of my head is Biggie's Suicidal Thoughts, produced by the funky technician himself, Mr. Lord Finesse. Speaking of which, maybe I should cover that track. But anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Now, Tribe they didn't do what was done a lot of times back in the day to save on sample time. And what I mean is, a lot of times, a lot of producers would just sample the individual elements, the kick, the hi-hat, and the snare over here, and and just use that to recreate the drum loop. But no, it really does sound like A Tribe Called Quest sampled the drum loop just straight through. And the reason I say that is because in Electric Relaxation, you can hear some hissing in the background. Now, if they had sampled the individual drum elements, that hissing would just be all chopped up and just come in and out, all right? Just would be very distracting. So, I mean, given the fact that they had to sample the whole drum loop and then sampling the guitar sample, and I do believe they sampled the bass separately and they didn't filter it out, and I'll explain a little bit more about that in a sec. That really equals more than 10 seconds, which is the only amount of time that an SP1200 had. But yeah, I'm really nerding out right now, but have a listen to the drum loop. Now, according to Who Sampled and every other source I could find online, that is the drum loop, and the arrangement is correct. However, it just sounds different in Electric Relaxation, and I tried my best to get it to sound alike, but I really couldn't do it. And I think the only way I could get a comparable sound is if I would have sampled it off of a turntable, and if I would have had an old early 90s, late 80s sampler. But yeah, that's pretty much the drums there, and you'll hear what I did to it a little later on. Now, let's move to the little background noise that you hear at the beginning of the song. And what I'm talking about are these two sounds. And, all right, now that's what I did, all right? But just hear where it comes from. It comes from Ramsey Lewis's Dreams. Now, beat makers out there, if you do not know who Ramsey Lewis is, you owe it to yourself to check out a lot of his music, all right? Especially some of his earlier stuff. I'm not a huge jazz fan. However, all right, this man's music is great for grabbing little stabs of different instruments, or if you want a nice big soundscape in the background of your song, you can look in some of his songs and you'll find some pretty good material there. And that's exactly what A Tribe Called Quest did here. Have a listen to this tiny bit of the song that they sampled. That's it. Let me play that again. All right. Out of that, you get and. Now, obviously, they adjusted the pitch a little bit. Now, let's move to the heart and soul of Electric Relaxation, and that is the Ronnie Forster sample from Mystic Brew. Now, the thing is, when I was looking at some of the forums about people talking about how A Tribe Called Quest had produced this track, some people believe that they filtered out the bass from this portion of the sample. Now, I'm going to talk over this because I do not want to trigger YouTube's copyright bots and have this video flagged and taken down. Now, a common practice of that era, and yeah, I guess it still is a common practice for people that produce sample-based hip-hop, is to use the high-pass and low-pass filters to separate the higher frequencies from the lower frequencies. If you've been watching the past episodes that I've done, that's a technique that I've done many, many times, all right? Now, the reason I don't think A Tribe Called Quest did that is because if you listen to the parts of Electric Relaxation, or rather the instrumental where the guitar drops off, the bass doesn't, you do not hear the guitar filtered out in the background. Whenever you use a low pass filter, you usually do hear some elements of the higher frequencies that you're filtering out. Otherwise, you get a very, very low end sound. Again, I am nerding out. Either ways, just have a listen. Yeah, let's not play that whole thing straight through. Now, this is the part that I believe that they used for the bass. And I will be talking over this once again because I am not trying to get this video taken down by the copyright police. All right, so they took this guitar sample over here, filtered out some of the low end, and I believe they played this bass in the background, and there you have it. All right, so let's get on over to Logic, and you can see what I did. Now, I did use both Logic and Machine. I could have done everything in Machine, but to be honest with you, manipulating levels, applying compressors and just visualizing the mix is way easier for me in Logic because of all the nice little meters that they have here in the mixer part. Now, for those of you out there that really do this for a living, don't knock me. I am not an engineer. I just do whatever works. So if I am not following your best practices or whatever, don't sue me. Anyways, let's go to the background noise that I was telling you about in the first place. All right, not a lot going on there. All right, for the background noise, all I did was adjust the pitch and apply a little bit of reverb. And you'll see over here in Logic, I EQ'd it a little bit just to get rid of some of the low end that was on it. And I used the imager to kind of give it a more stereo-y sound. As far as the little guitar with the wah-wah sample on it, wah-wah effect, I'm sorry. I used a delay on there, some reverb, and I didn't do anything to it in Logic other than adjusting the volume. Now, let's head on over to the drums. The drums were a pain, all right? I did everything that I could think of, sampling highs and lows and mixing them together, different effects, compressors, or you name it, all right? Things that I definitely was using the wrong way, whatever. I just could not get the kind of sound that they got in Electric Relaxation. I mean, I want to say they used some sort of bandpass filter or something. Maybe they just, you know, filtered out the lows and then put that on a separate track, and filtered out the highs and put that on a separate track, because you hear that the kicks punch a lot in Electric Relaxation. You don't have a lot going on in the middle frequencies, and that snare, it just really hits. It's almost metallic, and that does not sound like the snare that you hear in the Brethren sample. So I cheated. What I ended up doing is I took a snare from Machine's library, I EQ'd it a little bit, and I put it more or less around the same frequency range as the snare in Electric Relaxation. Now, once again, I am nerding out with the music production talk, so if you're not really big on that, forward it a little more in the video and you'll get to where I actually get to play the beat. Now, let's talk about the sample. All right, like I had said, I filtered the highs from the lows, or actually I should say in the guitar sample, I lowered the lows. You can see I used an EQ over here, and over here, being Captain Redundant, I EQ'd it some more, put some a multi-band compressor, well, just because I could, and I got a pretty decent sound. I adjusted the pitch, as you can see, or here. Now the bass, just to make my life a little bit easier, I just chopped up the individual notes and I played it out in Machine. My timing sucks, but you know, timing isn't perfect when you're talking about jazz samples anyways. Oh yeah, I EQ'd it here, and once again, me and my redundant self, I EQ'd it over here again in Logic. And this is what it sounds like when I play it out. By the way, I'm playing this, so again, if my timing is off, don't laugh at me too hard. Yeah, you get the idea. And that pretty much is it. I followed most of the arrangement in the beginning, all right, but it's not a one-for-one because I don't want this video to be any longer than it has to be. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So if I did miss something, or if you guys know what Tribe did for those drums and can offer me a way of fixing the drums, please let me know in the comments. I would really, really appreciate it. So, yeah, have a listen. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. Considering that I don't know what it was that they did, I think it came out pretty well. I'm sure there are going to be those of you out there that say, oh no, you forgot to do this or press this button, or don't you know about this obscure random filter that costs $50 or $500 and does that one thing? Why don't you have that in your library? Yeah, not going to do that. But I just wanted to pay homage to a tribe song that I really loved. And it still incorporated a lot of those old production techniques. But yeah, like I said in the other portion of the video, if you know about something that I don't, equipment or techniques that were used in production, particularly the drums, let me know. That's pretty much it. Please like the Deconstructing Hip Hop Facebook page, and you can find that at facebook.com/deconstructinghiphop. And please subscribe to the YouTube channel at youtube.com/deconstructinghiphop. You can also get some more links to videos, just strictly hip-hop videos or just random hip-hop comments, facts, and all that other fun stuff by following the Deconstructing Hip Hop Twitter feed, and that's twitter.com/deconhiphop. Or you can follow me personally, RogerGill79, over on Twitter, and you'll get a lot of the Decon Hip Hop stuff, but you'll also find some other stuff from me. I am a therapist by training, and sometimes I post articles online or just random links to other mental health related stuff. So you can get your head bob in, and I can fix your head for you. No, I'm kidding. That was actually kind of corny. I can't fix your head. But yeah, so I'll see you guys later. I'm going to try to put out another episode really quick. I do have another track prepared, and I just need to sequence it. So with that being said, I'll see you guys later. Take care. Peace.